Okay, good afternoon. We'll get started. Thank you for joining the Virtual Gold Stars webinar brought to you by University College at the University Main System. I'm your host, Ann Fenzi, and today you will discover ready-to-wear tools to acknowledge student achievement and motivate engagement. This will be an interactive presentation, so let me start off by telling you how you can participate today. First, I will ask you to please mute your microphone when you are not speaking. This is very important so that background noises at your location don't disrupt the presentation. You can mute your microphone by clicking on the icon on the toolbar at the top of the screen. It will turn red when you are muted. Please be sure to click this again if you would like to speak. I also encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation. I'll stop several times to ask you for your questions, but you can always type in a question while I'm speaking. Simply click on the button on the bottom right corner of your screen that says Ask a New Question. And finally, I would appreciate your feedback on this webinar. You can add input on the event page by clicking in the box that says Say Something and typing your comment. This webinar is being recorded, so you can also return to the event page at a later date to watch this session again. Now on with the show. Here's the key message for the day. Use digital tools to acknowledge the achievements of your students. Let's make sure you're in the right place. Who is this webinar created for? Faculty is one group. If you are a faculty member, you might ask yourself, how do I motivate my learners to persist in an online course? How do I acknowledge the achievements of my students? These questions will be answered today. If you're a learning designer, you might ask, why is it important to acknowledge the student achievement? What strategies are available to accomplish this? If you are an e-learning specialist, you might ask, what tools are available to acknowledge achievements? What technical skills are required to make use of them? These are the questions I will answer for you during this webinar. Now, it would be helpful for me if I knew a little bit about you. First, I'd like to know whether you are a faculty member or not. Please click yes or no. If you support faculty, could you let me know that? And remember, you can also type answers into your question box. And now think about your experience with digital achievement tracking tools. Have you earned or awarded a badge or leveled up in a class? Do you have experience with today's topics? Now I'll take a minute for questions. Do we have any questions so far? If not, then we'll continue. So what will you learn today? We'll begin by looking at what the research says about acknowledging student achievements. Then we'll look at an example of how badges can be implemented using the Achievements tool in Blackboard. The badges earned in achievements can be stored in a digital backpack using Mozilla's Open Badges system, so we'll want to take a look at that too. Finally, we'll have a chance to explore some other free tools for tracking student achievement online, and you'll have a hands-on opportunity to do that in a few minutes. And yes, I do have a comment in the question area that, yay, we have someone who has earned some badges, but they can't see a way to click yes or no. And yes, unfortunately, the yes or no option is only available if you're participating within the Hangout. not viewing it. So, why badges and certificates? We've all received tokens of achievement in our lives, but does it really have a place in higher education? Is it beneficial? Since digital badges for education are fairly new, there is a limited body of empirical evidence supporting their use. However, numerous studies have found a marked impact on student motivation. At first glance, you might think of badges as external motivation, which has been shown in some cases as a negative influencer. However, this is not the case with educational badges when they are used effectively. By choosing to work toward achieving the criteria necessary to earn a badge, learners take ownership of this process, then becoming intrinsic motivation. Badges can also be used for status recognition when they are shared socially. Several online services allow for this option, giving students bragging rights for completing difficult challenges in their courses. Badges can provide evidence of achievement for other audiences as well when they are shared online. For example, a student who earns a badge in infant CPR might like to include this information when applying for a job at a daycare center. One of the biggest impacts on motivation is how badges can be used to track progress throughout a course. These can be visual representations of a future workload as well as a record of accomplishments. A note about what badges are awarded for. There is evidence that awarding participatory badges for low-achieving students can negatively impact their progress and motivation. On the other hand, the research is clear on the positive impact of badges awarded for development and mastery of a skill or a body of knowledge. In one large-scale study by Denny in 2013, they discovered a highly significant positive effect on the quantity of students' contributions in an online course, without a corresponding reduction in their quality. Students enjoyed being able to earn badges and indicated a strong preference for having them available in the user interface. What do badges look like? If you're familiar with Khan Academy, you've likely noticed the motivating and rewarding points and badges that appear at the top of the screen. These are the various types of badges Khan Academy awards for learning or achievement. Let's pause here for a moment. Are there any questions about the literature on digital achievement tracking tools? And remember, you can add your questions throughout while I'm speaking, and I'll answer them when I take pauses for questions. Now it's time for us to create some of our own badges. Blackboard makes this very easy for us with the Achievement tool. They've created a short video that very clearly explains why you might want to use the Achievement tool. I'll show that to you now. So I just want to pause here for a moment. Someone submitted questions asking if they were supposed to hear the audio. Yes, there was audio along with that video. I'm sorry if you did not hear that. I can post the link to that video at the end of the presentation. I see another question here. It says, when was the first tracking tool developed? And that's a very good question. It's not clear in the literature when this all started. It's really a recent phenomenon. The literature only goes back as far as 2009. So we're still in the midst of a new developing tool for learning here. So let's go back to Blackboard. It's actually pretty easy to get started in Blackboard. Creating achievements is a 3-step process. First, you'll need to describe the achievement with a title and criteria. Then you'll define the trigger for Blackboard to award this achievement. This can be a minimum score on any graded content, submission of an assignment by a certain date, reviewing Blackboard content, or attempting an exam or assignment. You can even include multiple criteria. For example, say you want students to complete an assignment, make 3 substantial discussion board posts, and score 90% or more on the test in order to earn mastery for that unit. You can do this by defining these 3 criteria, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Third step for you is to determine the reward for meeting the criteria. This simply means choosing to award a certificate or a badge. And what do you want it to look like? I'll show you how to do that too. After you've laid the challenge for your students, it's up to them to earn the achievement. Once they do, they have choices about what to do with their achievement. They can print certificates, and badges can be shared online through Mozilla Open Backpack. They can share their badges on social accounts like Facebook or Twitter, post them on websites or blogs, or upload them to employment sites. Now let's look at what you do on each screen when creating an achievement. Achievements are found in your control panel under Course Tools. When you click on this, on the next page, you'll click Create Achievements, the button at the top of the screen. If you remember, I said there were 3 steps. The first of your 3 steps is to describe the achievement, and we'll do that here. You'll give the achievement a name. Then you'll click the Browse button to choose a location in the course to place the achievement. Then you'll describe the criteria for earning it. And finally, you'll click Define Triggers to go to Step 2. Step 2 involves defining the triggers Blackboard uses to award the achievement. If the criteria involves an item in the gradebook, you will choose the column and specify the criteria. For example, here, Chapter 3 test has a condition of % greater than or equal to 90. You can add additional criteria using the Add buttons under the Grading section or the Review Status section. In this case, the criteria for earning this badge also includes reviewing the course objectives in the syllabus section of the course. If you wish to remove a criterion, simply click the X in the Remove column. And now we're ready for Step 3. Do you remember what that was? Step 1 is to describe the achievement, Step 2 is to define the triggers, and Step 3 is to select the reward. The challenge is laid and it's up to the students to pick it up. You can track progress on achievements. Returning to the achievements in the control panel will show you a list of the achievements you have created, as well as the number of students who have earned each one. Here you can see the number of recipients of the Animals of the Ocean badge. So what does the student see, and how can they share their badges? Achievements are available under the Tools area in the Blackboard for the student, but it would be helpful to add this as a button on your course navigation. The first thing the student sees on their achievement page is a notification of any new achievements since their last visit. All of their achievements are listed below, but they can filter the list to show only achievements earned or those they haven't yet earned. Each achievement in their list has a number of options available. The student can choose to view the specific requirements or the triggers you set up. They can view details. They can publish it to their Mozilla backpack for further sharing, or if it's a certificate, they have the option to print it out on 8.5 by 11 paper. Achievements that have been earned are marked with a check and are shown in solid colors. Unearned achievements appear faded. If the student wants to learn how to earn that achievement, they click on the View Requirements button. This brings up the specific criteria you defined, as well as their progress on each one. Additional information and step-by-step instructions for creating and managing achievements can be found in the Blackboard Instructor Help pages. Let's pause here for questions. Are there any questions on achievements in Blackboard? No questions on Blackboard right now. So let's move on to Mozilla Open Badges. I've already mentioned Mozilla Open Badges a few times. Let's look more closely at this now. The name Mozilla might be familiar to you. They're the folks that developed the Firefox browser. They are a trusted brand on the internet and have the largest system of digital achievement management at this time. A digital badge is an online representation of a skill you've earned. Open badges take that concept one step further and allows you to verify your skills, interests, and achievements through credible organizations and attaches that information to the badge image file, hard-coding the metadata for future access and review. Because the system is based on an open standard, earners can combine multiple badges from different issuers to tell the complete story of their achievements, both online and offline. Badges can be displayed wherever earners want them on the web and share them for employment, education, or lifelong learning. Open badges are free and open, meaning that Mozilla Open Badges are not proprietary. It's free software and an open technical standard that any organization can use to create and issue their own digital badges. Open badges are transferable. You can collect badges from multiple sources, online and off, and store them in a single backpack. Then you can display your skills and achievements on social networking profiles, job sites, websites, and more. Open badges are stackable. Whether they're issued by one organization or many, badges can build upon each other and be stacked to tell the full story of your skills and achievements. And finally, open badges are evidence-based. Open badges are information-rich. Each badge has important metadata, which is hard-coded into the badge image file itself that links back to the issuer, criteria, and verifying evidence. With open badges, you can get recognition for the things you earn, give recognition for the things you teach, verify your skills, and display your verified badges across the web. You don't need to do anything to get started awarding open badges through Blackboard. Blackboard has done all the work for you. Let me show you how students get started. So here we're at the Open Badges website from Mozilla. The web address is openbadges.org. For a student to get started with using Open Badges, they will come here to openbadges.org. They'll click on Earn, and then they'll set up a Mozilla backpack. They'll return to backpack.openbadges.org to manage their badges and account. So for each achievement that they earn in your Blackboard course, they can log in here to their backpack and find that achievement here as well. Let's stop here to answer some questions about Mozilla Open Badges. Are there any questions about Open Badges? I see a question here. Can achievements be combined from different courses? And yes, Mozilla Open Backpack is a great way to do this. So if a student is earning badges that certify their skills in one particular area of their degree program, and then they go on to another class, they'd like to be able to tie all of those together. And you can do that by using the Mozilla Backpack. Do we have any other questions about Blackboard achievements or Mozilla Open Badges? Let's look at some other digital achievement management tools. In the showcase on the right side of your screen, you'll see a list of websites. Each of these offers free digital badge management services. I would like you to take 5 minutes right now to select one of these sites to explore. Be prepared to share with us. What do you like about it? What services do they offer? How easy would it be to integrate this into your instruction? I'll play some digital badge research appropriate music for you while you work. This song is called Busy Bee and is available from Purple Planet royalty-free music. Enjoy. Okay, our time is up. So you've only had a short 5 minutes to look at one of the websites that was listed in the showcase. And those websites are included in the PowerPoint, which can be downloaded at the end of the presentation. So I encourage you to go and look at all of them. So we have a couple of questions here that I'll address before we share what we've discovered at each of those websites. So there's a question here that asks whether this is turned on in Blackboard or not. So whether the Mozilla Open Badge system is turned on in Blackboard. It is possible that it's not enabled on our servers, and if we don't have access in Blackboard, how else can we use badges? So that's a good question, and I don't have the answer to that. I'll need to find out if the Mozilla Open Badge system is enabled in our Blackboard account at University of Maine system. So if you can't use those, then that's what you might want to look at one of those other websites can be used for. If you're using rubrics, I recommend the rubric website because they include both rubrics and badges. So you can use a rubric to assess a student, and then you can also award a badge based on their level of skill. And someone else mentioned that they couldn't hear the music. I apologize for that. It is a wonderful little song for you to work at. It really motivates, and the song is available on Purple Planet Music. So do we have some other questions, or we can start sharing what it is that you found at one of the websites? So if you could, in the Q&A app, if you could enter a comment about something that you found interesting that you liked at one of the websites, and how you might want to use that in your class. So I don't see any willing volunteers to share their exploits. Although I do see another question here. Where else can these badges be of use to students? So if you use a tool that is compatible with Mozilla Backpack, then your badges can be displayed in a number of places. You can actually share them on your Facebook page, and when someone clicks on that picture, it takes them to a page on the Mozilla website that gives more information about the badge that was earned. It gives all of the meta information. So that meta information is embedded within the picture itself, and it explains who the awarding organization is and what criteria had to be met in order to earn that badge. So by sharing that picture anywhere online, either through social media or by posting it on a web page, then whoever looks at that picture using a computer can find all of the information that's attached to the badge. Okay, so if we don't have anyone that wants to share, that's fine. I encourage you to take a look at each of those websites anyways. And like I said, they will be included in the PowerPoint that will be downloaded from the event page at the end of the broadcast. So, and here are the web addresses for those websites. Now let's recap what we talked about today. I presented to you some of the research on the use of digital achievement recognition tools. We looked at the achievements tool in Blackboard and Mozilla Open Badges, and we also explored some other online tools. Here's the takeaway for today. Use digital tools to acknowledge the achievements of your students. So what next? If you want to get started, you'll first need to identify opportunities for recognition in your classes. Next, you'll need to learn to use one of the tools we talked about today. And finally, you'll be ready for implementation. So what will you do now? Would anyone like to share some thoughts about next steps? So I don't see any questions or comments in the Q&A app about anyone taking next steps, but I am sure you are going to. So at this point, I'd like to thank you all for coming today and participating in our virtual Gold Stars webinar. I hope you enjoyed our time together. I did. And I hope you're feeling ready to start using digital achievement tools to acknowledge the achievements of your students. This recording of the webinar will be available on the events page at Google, where you can also download the PowerPoint slides like I mentioned. You can find more resources for learning design and educational technology on our website at learn.maine.edu/faculty. Thank you again and have a great day.